Today's project is the installation of the SoundBomb Mini horn on the Tiger 900 Rally Pro. Now the thing is, I decided to try this instead of the standard SoundBomb, the air compressor SoundBomb. This is just a lower tone regular horn. Is supposed to be a direct replacement for the factory horn. So I just wanted to see how this would perform compared to the standard factory horn. I don't expect it to be as loud as the air compressor horn, but still louder than the factory horn, so that's good enough. Now, a couple of installation videos that I saw had the person putting the horn on the Rally Pro without the crash bars, the upper crash bars. The upper crash bars are kind of like interconnecting right where the horn is, so that is making the connection or the removal of the stock horn and the installation of the new horn a little bit more tricky. I have a feeling I'm gonna have to remove the beak to do that. So that makes the job a little bit more of a pain in the butt. In the box, you get a couple of brackets and a self-locking nut. You get the horn. There's the horn. A little bit bigger than the stock one, and it's got the opening here, which I would think that I'd want to have facing backwards. And there's some instructions. So instructions here on the horn. Tools required: 10mm wrench, low cut horn, mounting bracket, and M6 nut. That's all. And it's just telling you basically how to mount it where, it's generic instructions, not for the Tiger. It's just for any old bike. You just mount the horn using the nut on this this threaded stud here, and you are expected, I guess, to find your own bolted location for the other end of the bracket. You're expected to find your own bolt and nut. Just shows you the rudimentary connections for the wires, just 2 wires, as on the standard horn. So let's go and see how to mount this horn first on the bike. I don't know if you can see that, but that's where we're going to have to be locating, mounting this new horn. I expect, because of the thickness of the horn, it's going to stick down a bit and probably going to be pointing backwards a little bit. But this is the location that has got to be installed. And it's kind of a tight area here. If you can see back there, behind the horn here, is where the nut that's going to take that bracket off. And the nut is just above this, where the crash bars interconnect. So that's a hard bit, to get access to there is very difficult. So I suspect that maybe what I'll have to do is to remove this beak. And I think that there's 4, if I remember correctly, there's 4 screws. 1, 2, and there's a couple more behind here. 4 screws to remove this beak. Once the beak is removed, maybe I can remove the horn itself from the top using that center stud. Then I'll just be able to bolt the other one back on without even having to remove that nut in there. Yeah, with the beak removed, it's certainly easier. You just have to remove those 4 screws, and those 4 screws actually go into these holes here. Back hole, the front hole, and the same on both sides. And with the beak removed, then you can just get access to the top nut here and replace the horn. So it should be simple and straightforward from here. Before I do that, I'm going to blow the horn. Now I've got the iPhone about 3 feet from the horn, slightly to the side. I'll leave this in the same position for both. And let's see what the sound registers as. I'm going to stop talking now, and it's going to go down. $112. Looked like 112. Let's do it again. 112.9. pretty loud. Now let's go ahead and install the new horn. Just a couple of wires here. I think from a previous installation, I probably marked that as the positive one. It's got a little bit of a rubber bushing here. So it's just a matter of plugging in the new horn, these leads into the new horn, and then bolting it back on. As you can see, with the horn installed, the bolt is not fully through the nut. It's barely hanging on there. Because of this grommet arrangement that is here, the thickness in way of the bracket is greater than that stud would allow. So maybe I've got to pull this grommet out. So I'm going to take that back off and pull the grommet out, see how it fits. Hopefully it'll fit a little bit better, and there'll be some of that stud protruding from the nut. But before we do that, let's do a sound test. As before, the horn is about 3 feet away from the iPhone. $114. Try again. $114.9. So pretty much 115. This is the grommet that comes out from the bracket where the horn is mounted. As you can see, there's a bit of rubber around here to isolate the vibration, and then there's a steel insert to keep the distance on the stock horn. And if you look here, the hole that is left is fairly large. I'll need a washer or something like that to kind of like mount this in place. Now you can see how with the grommet removed, it's much better engagement of that stud in the nut. And I took this opportunity also to grind off the corner, the sharp corner. It's kind of a sharp corner like this on this side, because the beak interferes with this corner here. I did a little bit of a test fit before, and I noticed that it kind of interferes with this corner. So I ground that off with a file. And this is the fitment from underneath. As you can see, it fits pretty neatly underneath that beak. But if you're going to go through deep water, you can still get water going in to the front of the bike. But there's a little bit of a slope downwards, I think. So it should roll out. But it fits pretty neatly in that recess under the beak, especially if you cut off the corner like I did. This side, the right side, touches a little bit, but it's not that hard up against the plastic. Yeah, this is pretty good. It's solid up there, and reusing the existing bracket is fine. So that's pretty much it. It's just a matter of reinstalling the beak now, and everything would be back to how it was. You heard the horn. The horn is a bit louder. Now, the original horn was almost 113 decibels. So basically, I only got 1 decibel out of this upgrade. But the sound is much different. So this is how it is. If you like this video, consider giving me a thumbs up, subscribing, and sharing the video. Leave a comment below if you find it useful, if you've got any questions, and I'll get back to you. See you in the next one.